Hello everyone, it's Matt with Treble-Lifer. Have you thought about where you would get started with Treble-Lifer now that you're a friend and a follower and a fan and a subscriber? Well, I'm here today to give you some ideas on where you can get started. There's 4 things that we really want to stress here. One is getting to know the entirety of the fretboard, so we want to help you do that. Get to know the entirety of the fretboard by note name so that you can construct chords and you can construct leads that you wish to play. 2, to get to know the patterns quite well. How do they cover the entirety of the fretboard? How are they used in different styles? And then thirdly, from both those first 2, how you can use those in improvisation, in a new setting with a new band, and in your own songs. And then fourthly, to read music. So now that you've decided to get started, where then do you start? Well, we talk about modes of practice. Personal practice, pre-performance practice, and performance practice. We go into detail in another video for that. We're going to focus on personal practice. Personal practice is structured but yet comfortable, in which the guitar is resting on your leg and is elevated on the side of the guitar of your fretboard hand. So in my case, I'm right-handed, so my guitar is resting on my left leg and is elevated at this angle. And you see this because it's important to get our thumb around the back of the neck. We do that to maximize stretch and maximize comfort as we're practicing our patterns. Now, there's going to be a couple of things that you will need as you practice. You want to download the patterns and have them available to you. Now remember, the patterns themselves move across the entirety of the fretboard, and you choose where you would like to begin them. We will choose that for you in some of our lesson plans. Secondarily, I would encourage you to print out the blank fretboard as well as the completely filled in fretboard. And the reason you do that is that it's fun when you have some off time and you don't have your guitar in front of you to start looking at and getting to know the notes on your fretboard by note name. And fill it in, identify where the G's are or the C's are, how you might construct a new chord in one of those keys as well, one of those notes as well. And then fourthly, we'll have notation and coupled with tablature that you can print out and have available to you to begin. So we have our guitar elevated. I would suggest in this case, so let's begin with on the note of G. Now, if you are an advanced intermediate player, I always suggest starting descending in your scale patterns at the highest fret location you have available to you. You and I will spend a lot of time in the higher notes when we are playing lead guitar with our bands. So getting to know these patterns, not only ascending from lowest note to highest note, but this descending from highest note to lowest note is essential. So, but let's begin this lesson and how you use these patterns on a low note. We're going to use the 3rd fret on the 6th string, which is located here. And I'm going to play this pattern. Now you'll notice the O. The O is optional. That means it fits in the pattern, but it's your choice if you want to use it or not. So in this case, when I play this pattern from this 3rd fret on the 6th string, I would suggest you play it slowly with note quality. You and I serve as our own personal critics. We should not let a note go by that doesn't sound correctly. At the same time, we want to be nice to ourselves and not mean-spirited, because you're going to be playing these patterns for a long time, maybe as long as me, hopefully as long as me, 50 plus years. So you play it from the low note to the high note. And we want to minimize movement and play slowly, but we're going to play with strength. I add a little vibrato on my fretboard hand. And sometimes I've been noted to play a little bit strongly with my jazz pick on my strumming hand. But I do that because I want the volume to be higher when I practice, so that in a performance I don't become overwhelmed when someone asks me to bring up the volume. I want to be used to volume. That's part of what we do in practice. So that's a little bit of what pattern 1 looks like. You can also begin to assemble chords in pattern 1 as I'm doing here. A chord is 3 or more notes played at the same time. So these are all chords within that pattern. But the goal is get to know the pattern. The goal is get to know the fretboard by fretboard name. The goal is to improve your confidence in playing a lead. So as you begin to master, and as you do master these patterns, not only pattern 1, but 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, added with the chromatic scale, you'll really begin to open up your lead guitar playing and your ability to contribute to songwriters and develop your own music and your unique voice. So that's how you get started with Treble-Life. Look for things that we'll have on our YouTube channel and other events, and I greatly appreciate your time today. Please let us know your comments, and thank you.